All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Friday NBA show. Got my guy Ham here with me. As always, we're going to break it all down for you. 8 games for the classic slate tonight over on DraftKings. That's what we're going to be going through, talk through all the news, injuries, breakdowns, if this, then that, talk about some of the tools over at SHIPITNation.com. And then, of course, we'll talk about our projections over at SHIPITNation.com as well. If you guys are just joining us for the first time, do us a favor on the way in, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, but also go and subscribe to the Ship It Nation YouTube station, just youtube.com/@ShipItNation, or open a new tab, type in Ship It, it'll pop up. Subscribe there. We're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers here as soon as possible, but we got a lot of other free content over there for you guys that you'll probably love. There's going to be NFL stuff starting tomorrow, Hoop and myself breaking down that 2-gamer. We're going to have the Sunday show back over on this channel, but all the other sports that we cover as well. And I'll bring up one quick thing from one of our sponsors there. If you guys haven't yet checked it out, I know there's lots of different football, best ball, playoff stuff going on for the NFL, but drafters, there's overlay right now. There's, I think, 2,500 spots left last I checked. So you can get in over there. If you go to drafters and use the code SHIPIT or the link down below, you can definitely get in, get yourself 100% deposit bonus up to your first $100. So buy one, get one free for the big $20 with $50K up top, or buy 5, get 5 free. Ham, what's going on, man? Another Friday in the association. Excited to talk some ball with you. What's happening? Yeah, no, heck yeah. Looking forward to tonight. Should be a good one. Got the reigning MVP sitting out, so it's going to open up some value on the Sixers. Got a boatload of Grizzlies sitting out, so going to talk about that when we get there. And that best ball, I did a couple drafts with Marley and did a couple on my own. It's $50K up top. It's tough to beat that. Get on over to Drafters. It's a great product they have over there. Yeah, we love it. Our partnership's been awesome with them. Obviously, it was great when we first started. Like, Tidal won the championship there last season, not this one just passed, but the one before, for $250K. So we started there with them and just going to it. They've been great. Everybody seems to love it. Our own Hoopster is deep into these playoff best ball drafts. He might be the sole guy filling this thing up if it gets there, because he's got over 100 now. I think he's on his way to maxing it, and love to see this. Double ships, more rocket ships all the way in. One day we should just start the show. Everybody just drops a rocket ship and see how many people drop a rocket ship before someone breaks the silence and says a word, because we can just have the ships all the way down, like Michael knows, hopping in here. But shout out to everybody. Want to say what's up to Gator. Took down the 25-cent DK tournament last night, $250. Huge ROI. And he says it, another Ship It Nation logo up top. We love to see that. So if you guys haven't yet done so, and check out the site, it's free to go over to Ship It Nation. I'll pull it up there in a second. But if you didn't know, you can get in using code MAYO. Gets you 10% off any of the plans over there besides weekly. Weekly is if you try it over a week, go ahead. It's already cheap enough, but affordable for those monthly and long-term plans for the content that you're getting. And then if you guys want to check it out too, I'll show it when we go there after. We do have our PGA only memberships, which are currently introductory pricing only, but then you also get an additional 10% off with that code MAYO. So lots going on right now over at the Nation. Lots coming down the pipeline. It's going to be a really good upcoming 2024. But Ham, let's get into this slate, man. Let's talk the grand scheme overview. What are we sort of waiting on here? What do you see? I know there's some injury news in certain spots, certain games, and then 8 games, pretty good size slate, 100K up top in the big $15 over on DraftKings. Yeah, no, this should be an exciting slate. I mean, the first game we're going to talk about, 250-point total, and I alluded to it earlier. You got Embiid out. You have LaMelo Ball making his return. You have numerous Grizzlies that are going to miss tonight. So it should be overall an exciting slate. That Kings Sixers game is going to be a high point total as well. They're in the 240s. So I think we can find some ways to ship this slate. I mean, we were talking earlier. I said the Blazers lost by 60, and you said there's no way the Blazers lose by 60 tonight. So interested to see who you like on the Blazers, but looking forward to they could lose by 61 tonight instead of 62. It could get better, just still bad, but that was insane. You don't see that very often, just some insane scoring, and then just they couldn't put up a thing. So it's just the way it goes sometimes, but there is some injury stuff. We'll get through it when we get to those spots. talk about some of the if this, then that type scenarios. Let's start things off, Ham. Let's go to this Indy-Atlanta game. Decent, well, big total actually, but a decently close spread as well. So we could see some back and forth here. Looks like some stuff to talk about, but Trae Young was the big one, and he's probable. So take me through this Atlanta-Indy game first, and then we'll go to these other games as I bring some other stuff up.
Yeah, I was talking about the injuries, and obviously didn't talk about one of the biggest ones, Tyrese Halliburton, not playing tonight, as you well know. I think he's got a hamstring injury. I think he's sidelined for 2 weeks. So no Tyrese Halliburton tonight on a team that already struggles in transition defense. We get Trae Young, who questionable / probable. Trae's been struggling, shooting the basketball. I think he gets out of that slump tonight. I think he's 3 of his last 20 in his last 2 games. So hadn't been shooting very well, but I really like Trae Young tonight. He's going to be popular, but we got great value on him. We're showing 2% ownership. I actually think it's going to be much higher than that, just based on who else is on this slate. But Trae Young is a great play tonight, in my opinion. I know Hebrew's out there in the chat. Hebrew's been all over Jalen Johnson, 7,200. I feel like he's in Hebrew's slate playing every night. I'm assuming he's there again today, but don't mind Jalen Johnson. He's just rebounds, shots. He does it all. He's been starting for the last several weeks. So really like Jalen Johnson as well to go with him. And then on the flip side, I think you can go a variety of different places for little, bits and pieces. TJ McConnell's one that come to mind, but at $7,000, I think a lot of people will be off of him. They've really been on him. He's been, in the 4s and the 5s, but with Halliburton out, he's going to see an increased role. Don't mind him at that price. And then the other one would be Miles Turner at 7.2. We've picked on the Hawks all season long as it relates to the bigs. They struggle guarding the bigs, so give me some Miles Turner at 7.2. Don't mind that one either.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the other stuff here too. The chat brought it up as well. Our guy, Steven Neighbor, shout out to you, man. Always appreciate you being here watching with us. Says Murray looks good too. That's pretty crazy. 6 games straight, taking 18 or more shots. He's had pretty good output for 7,200 on this slate. So I'll bring it up here in a second with our projections, but some people just tuning in for the first time or watch this on playback. First off, a couple quick things over at SHIPIT Nation. Right now, the PGA only options. I only bring this up again because it expires on January 17th. What I mean by that is when I click in, these prices for the monthly and the season are going to go up to $239 and $39. When you use the code right now, if you use code Mayo, it gets you 10% off this price for your first month at $30.60 or whatever. Then it renews always at $34. Instead of waiting a week and then going $39, dropping it down $3.90 and then back to $39, you could save a bunch that way. Also right now for about $5 per PGA event, $179 and change if you use code Mayo and get the season. So if you were waiting, wanted to let you know that quickly. Also, we swapped it out. If you are getting in the PGA Showdown streets, we've got the free PGA DFS Showdown mini course now. It's just 15 minutes, but it's breaking down heavy hitting, fast and furious. You can go check it out. Just email only, no credit card information required at all. And then lastly, we're about to get to them, but if you guys want good projections that are different, we've heard some top pros out there be on some of these shows lately explaining that to you, that 1, you need projections when it comes to NBA. 2, you need good projections. And 3, if you can get good projections that are different from the other major competitors that we go up against, it's nice to have. And that's why you're seeing our logos move up those leaderboards, especially in the satellites. We've seen it a lot more, some of the main flagship tournaments and whatnot. So just keep that in mind. The projections, even if you wanted nothing else on the entire site, getting in using promo code Mayo gets you 10% off. It's been really good. So I would check that out. Let's flip over to it. When you do have our projections, if you want to partner up with the solver, you can get our projections right in here. It'll say SHIPIT Nation, as you see, when they were updated, all this stuff leading up to this show just shortly ago. So 8 games here in the solver. We're going to go game by game. We talked about it already. Hebrew also brought this up too. Murray trying to boost his trade stock, just chucking, right? That's what you've seen. 18 plus shots in his last 6 games. And then if you go pull it up here, it's missing a game on the solver. I know they're like a day behind, or we're maybe just a little bit too early, but I think he had almost 42 or 45 DraftKings points in the last game. But before that, 33, 35, 38, 45. Feels kind of flourish, but on an 8-game slate at 7,200, you can do worse. He is a popular value for us. He makes perfect sense, so I don't hate that. Is there anybody else within this game that you wanted to talk about, Ham, before we move on to the next one?
I'm surprised you're on Murray. I mean, you say, like, if you need 35 DraftKings points at 7,000, then that's your guy. Trae Young, I'm going Trae Young with no Tyrese. He's my favorite. Jalen Johnson would be my second favorite. Miles Turner. On the flip side, we've picked on Capella all season long as it relates to guarding the rim, and so those would be my favorite three that I'm going to focus on this game. But it's a 250 total. I feel like we talk about it every time the Pacers are on the slate. There's going to be some fantasy points in this game, and you got to find the right ones.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly where I will end up because we got to wait and see too on who was the other guy we were talking about earlier. I forget who the other guy is, but the setup here is like if you look at it, I've got Trae Young more down my board, even though the projection's good here. It's just based on that. The other thing is you've got double eligibility here on Murray. So depending on how this value shakes out, he's another guy that I could just get away with. And it's not really, that big a deal. Plus, it's not 35 that you've been getting. That's like you've got multiple 40, 42, 45s mixed in there. So I actually have no problem with it. And then just in the sense of the savings over a guy like Young with the multiple position eligibility, I do think he's an option that you can go to here. Let's go to this next game. Let's go to Sacramento, Philly. And there's some values popping in this one too. Where's your thoughts at with this one? We'll go through some of the injury stuff too, but or guys that are out. What are you doing with Sac Philly?
Yeah. This is another game that's obviously going to be popular as it relates to DFS. I mean, Sabonis has just been on an absolute tear. Multiple triple doubles. I don't know exactly how many in the last 10 games. I would say at least half of those. He's been rock solid, much better fantasy player than De'Aaron Fox. So Sabonis would be at the top of the list for me there. And I love Tobias Harris. I mean, I think it was 4 weeks ago now that I love Tobias Harris on this Friday night show. Tambo himself made fun of me for liking Tobias Harris, and he went out and dropped 65 on you. Hey, anytime Embiid is out, Harris is gonna get his shots up. I love Harris tonight. Obviously, love Tyrese Maxey with no Embiid as well. Those would be my two favorite from the Sixers, Maxey and Harris. Covington is out for the Sixers, which he don't play a whole lot of minutes, but just something to note. Keegan Murray had a phenomenal game the last time the Kings played. 6,300, don't hate that. Malik Monk's always in play with another dual eligibility. But for me, the main focus is going to be Sabonis, Tobias, and then Tyrese on the other side for me.
Yeah, the chat's talking about Monk too. Obviously, Herter is going to be out, so maybe that's a thought process there. Obviously, a guy that can put him up quick, but typically when his biggest games have been are maybe with Fox out or things like that. So the guys for me, I'm actually with you this week on Harris. I don't hate it. I think if you look at his price tag here, it's fair. Another guy at 7,200, so maybe that's the theme. You go back to the first game, I liked a guy at 7,200. There's another one here. If you can get to, again, how it sets up. Maxey's $600 cheaper than Young. Do you like Young more than Maxey still, or would you go to Maxey instead?
Yeah, no, I like Young over Maxey just based on the matchup alone. And I think Young's going to get it going tonight in the back and forth game.
Yeah, there is that thought. And then there was another guy too that I was looking at too on some of our stuff earlier. It was Sacramento. What's up with
Diarte's been starting. He was starting, and I think Herter started the last game, and then Herter got hurt in the middle of the game, and then Diarte started the second half. I think that's a bad projection on Diarte. I bet you we don't have him as playing a full allotment of minutes
right now. Yeah, and I want to see just too quickly because I was checking one thing with them. So last game, 14 minutes. He did play on the 10th as well, which just doesn't reflect, but 14 minutes. So we'd have to see how it shakes out, but that could be a value play that pops in. And then again, looking at that, the shooting guard and small forward position eligibility would bump it up as well. Right now, we just have them projected for 16. So again, these will be updated as we get closer to lock and go from there. But I think some of the stuff up here, like Maxey, Fox, if you can get to Sabonis, Monk, Harris, Keegan Murray, I think that's the right spot where we were at. It's sort of sitting in this range up here. Our values align. I think it makes perfect sense. And the chats, our guy Hebrew, he stinks. Buns, cheeks, where nobody's really liking that play either way, but we'll see how it shakes out as the projections update as the day goes on. Let's move on. Let's go to Houston, Detroit. Some guys are definitely popping here. I'll let you talk about it here first. First team all cheeks, Hebrew says, but take us through this one, Ham. What do we got with Houston, Detroit?
Yeah, the only news as far as injury goes, real quick, is Stewart is I think he's questionable. We know Dylan Brooks is still out, but yeah, I mean you're showing the screen. Those are the guys that I like. I think Sengun's got a really good matchup tonight against this Pistons team. I like Fred VanVleet on the other side. They're both popping over here. And the things that I look at, I saw some some Cam Whitmore love in our Discord earlier today. I'll let you guys play Cam Whitmore, the what is it, Jay Sean Tate, who we always make fun of over here, but Van Vliet. I don't mind Jalen Green, and I like Sengun would be my 3 favorite Rockets. And then Cade Cunningham is going to be out for the Pistons. So what does that mean? I mean, that means some of those guys, other point guards / shooting guards, are going to handle the ball a little bit more. Killian Hayes, he's seen some usage go up, 5,500, not the worst play. But give me those first 3 Rockets: Sengun, Van Vliet, Jalen Green with FVV, my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, I like Nade's call here. This is a good one too. Green, he said Whitmore again, but I think these are the 2 that I'm liking, and then we'll see how Detroit shakes out or who I end up popping in there. I think what was Bogdan news? It was like a midday downgrade, right?
Yeah, midday downgrade on him. I was listening, I was watching Title in Hebrew, and I haven't seen anything since, but they were talking about the coach saying he was playing too many minutes. So need to do some more research on that. If that's actually true that he's not playing as much as they wanted him to, but maybe that's wrong now that Cade got hurt.
Yeah, this is annoying me that I can't just get the latest game log on it. Whitmore's last game was 33 minutes. He had 28 DraftKings points, a couple steals in there, nothing crazy for assists. His peripherals really weren't much. It was just 6 for 12 shooting on that. He's at 4,300. So maybe we got to give our guy Jordan his first good play of all time. Could be a possibility. We'll have to see, but I'm sticking with these other 2. I will give him a little bit of credit for that when it looks okay on paper, but the Detroit plays, I think, again, it will wait on the news, but if he's out, then obviously with already Cade being out, everything else that's going on, definitely other guys that you can pull into play here to make this stack work. Like, again, it's not the highest total after those 2 games we just talked about, but it's all price related, right? Like, these prices are very good that we're playing for fantasy points. Same thing I say in football all the time. Obviously projections matter, but the projections are there going with it too. And you're able to fit more in with that one. I think realistically in this game, I would actually look to pull 2 or 3 pieces, no problem, and then mix some of those guys in from those other first 2 games that we already looked at. Anything else that you wanted to add there, Ham? If not, we can go into the Clippers and Grizz. Another one just similar to what we just talked about as far as total goes, but I don't see as many of the same plays in this one. You probably got 1 or 2 though.
Yeah, no, I think that'll do it for that game. Let's move to the next one.
All right, go ahead, take over.
Yeah, so LA going into Memphis. I mean, I really like Desmond Bane tonight. I mean, LA is one of the top 5 overall defensive team. But anytime that Ja's out, which obviously he's going to be out for the rest of the season, Marcus Smart is out tonight. There was one more that's out. I'm drawing a blank on who it is. Don't they have one more person that's out? But in any event, those are their 2 big guns. And anytime those are out, Desmond Bane's usage just goes sky high. I think he shot it 28 times the last time out against Dallas. I really like him tonight, even at 9,100. Dual eligibility, not really popping on the value, and he's got a tough matchup. But, man, he's going to have to shoot it another 25-plus times tonight, in my opinion. So I really like Desmond Bane. And then, we talk about it, I feel like every time. It's just tough to get these right Clippers. They have a big 3 that are going to be, playing the majority and doing the majority of the things. It's just tough getting the right one. I'll be lower on the Clippers, but I do like Desmond Bane tonight, 9,100 for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, Zubac was talked about in the chat. He pops a little bit here. Don't mind that. Your Bane call, I mean, it's just always tough when he's 9,100. But again, you got to look at it the other way when there's other guys missing and stuff too. Maybe that's how you're shaking it out. So again, Kawhi's missing off his January 10th result, but it worked out against one of his old teams, Toronto, that he had 50 DraftKings points. Obviously got that new contract extension. So congrats to Kawhi and the Clippers. If that pays off, we'll wait and see. But some of these value plays could come into play here. The Bane, if you get to it, I guess it's hard for me when we have some of those other guys we talked about earlier at those price points. And I know he is shooting guard, small forward, but again, I would just rather find other options myself. I think Zubac is probably the guy I would like most here at 6,300. There's a couple centers, but then some of them are power forward center eligibility, so you can mix and match those guys as well, which we'll get to some of them in a second. But really tough to pick amongst these 3. And then value plays, like the Memphis value plays aren't popping today as much as they were sort of the other day. So I wouldn't have as much love for them. The other day, I really like those guys. Today, just not as much. You have to kind of take a shot on an 8K Triple J. or you got to go to Desmond Bane and pay 9,100. So really tough for me to get to that spot. Let's move on. Big news in this one is that it's not going to matter for fantasy because no one's going to play him, and rightfully so, going to be really restricted. But LaMelo Ball is coming back, right? First game back. Can't play him at 9,500, or at least I can't. But if you just see from the game perspective, John Morant is now out for the season. LaMelo Ball's back. Like, it's just the way the game goes. Obviously, we talked earlier about Tyrese Halliburton. It just sucks, some of these injuries and stuff that goes on. But now we're getting another guy back. Hopefully LaMelo can play some minutes, see him in action, get healthy, get him back in there again. But how are you attacking this game here? What do you got with this one, Ham?
We got a guy in the chat that thinks Wemby's better than Bane all day and twice on Friday. So good luck to that guy playing Wemby over Bane. Same price tag. And the thing with Wemby, I mean, obviously he had a triple-double his last time out, but man, you're just hoping for a lot. If a guy's only going to play 24, 25 minutes, I think that's tough in my opinion. At 9,100, he's going to have to do something like that every time out. Not necessarily a triple-double, but he's going to have to do something in limited minutes in order to pay off that tag. I just would prefer Bane. It's going to play 35 minutes to be the focal point of the offense. Just my opinion. Interested to see what you have to say about that as it relates to Wemby. But yeah, he does have a great matchup. Charlotte, we've been picking on them all season long with bigs. Wemby's obviously a good player. Wish he was playing a little bit more, than the 24, 25 minutes I saw in the slate plan. Hebrew has said he's not clear to play back-to-back, so he's going to play tonight. Hopefully they can extend his leash to maybe 27, 28 minutes. It'd kind of be like 30 minutes for me, but you're seeing there just not a lot of value you're just looking at the point guard, but not a lot of value there. I mean, LaMelo, no. We talked a little bit. I don't mind Terry Rozier at 8,800. Spurs, one of the worst teams defending the point guard position. Obviously, LaMelo is going to have the ball in his hands, but if he's limited or restricted, I don't mind Terry Rozier. I mean, that's a hefty price tag at 8,800, but it'd be Terry Rozier for me, and that's about it from this side.
Okay. Man, I just got some NFL news. I know it's an NBA show, but Laporta was a full practice today after his knee looked like it twisted sideways in that game. That seems wild to me, but wow. All right, we'll have to see. What someone said this was a good one. Why is Pop limiting him so much? Pop's an idiot. That's why. Yeah, we have to deal with that stuff when it comes to NBA DFS and just in general, watching the games and being involved with it. But I actually am on our guy Nades's side. I would still be on, again, different positions too, power forward and center eligibility. But that's kind of the guy I was talking about earlier. If you go to Wemby here, you can put him in as that and still get some of those other centers that we liked as well. So I'm actually going to stick to that. I think that makes sense for me. And then I don't really have as much love on the Charlotte side. I don't really have much love for anybody else in this game. Like Trey Jones, not really interested. Played him last game. He's the guy that would be, again, I would rather have the $1,000 more and play Murray in that big total back and forth Atlanta Indy game and just find the money that way. And then also be able to play him at point guard or shooting guard. So nothing else really for me on this one, Han. Did you have anything else you want to add in that game? If not, you can take us to Golden State and Chicago is going to be up next.
So you think Wemby's going to outscore Bane tonight?
I'd be playing more of them probably just on my lineup construction that I'm thinking of right now. We'll have to see how it actually shakes out. Obviously, with the jaw stuff, it would make Bane in a good spot. But I'm saying I think from that perspective, I'm probably going to use Wemby more because I'm going to be looking for those value plays where Bane is at in lineup construction. So it's a way that you can get different, though. I think for sure, if you go that way, that could be where it happens. But I definitely think I can get to Wemby no problem with some of the other guys I like and still use the values in those guard and small forward positions.
Yeah, I pulled up the wrong one, but someone's asking about Barlow as a value. No, thank you for me on Barlow. Don't know if you have any take on that, but I'm out on Barlow.
No, nothing for me. Keep it moving. Let's go. Take over for Golden State, Chicago. Chris Paul underwent surgery. We got that one. Draymond's out. Moody out. There's a few things here, but what are we doing with this game, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, looks like Chicago's full squad as well. Vukovic, really like Vukovic tonight at the center position, 7,300. Good price tag on him, so don't mind Vooch. He's popping over here at the stuff that I'm looking at. I'm going to have to scroll down, and I know that the fans are upset that it took me this many games, but I like Sarge, negative 3-point value. But hey, the stuff I look at, I like Dario Sarge tonight. Sarge for the Warriors on the other side. I think that's a good price for him with Moody being out. Minutes should be going up. So give me some Vooch, give me some Sarge. Zach LaVine had a really good game last time out, 7,400. Don't mind that price tag. But it's going to be Vooch for me. It's going to be like my main piece of the Bulls that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I agree on the Vooch stuff. Sarge, I guess we'll wait and see how the projections update and everything goes as the day goes on, but at least he's shown something, right? Like last game was only 13. Again, it's not updated for January 10th, but you're getting some scores in here that you could get away with if you needed a value piece there. And this would make sense for you, Ham, because it's kind of everything we just talked about, right? Like if you want Bane, you need to flip the build in the sense of you need to find someone here that you can take a shot on versus some of the values that may open up at the guard and small forward position. So you can use Bane there and a guy like Sarge here, if you like him, which sounds like you do, versus what we were just talking about, where you set it up the opposite way, where you have Wemby down in this spot and then somebody else up top, right? That's really what it's going to come down to. So definitely don't hate that call. I guess like it's just hard here too with all these guys in, right? Like you got White, LaVine, DeRozan. Other side, it's been impossible this season with like Curry. Just hasn't. Curry is, you know what? Here's the other funny thing. Curry gets sort of compared up against Mahomes all the time, right? Like the basketball type Mahomes, fancy, can do crazy stuff, great shooter. Mahomes, fancy, talented, can do crazy stuff, sidearm stuff, all this stuff. People compare them oftentimes. And Mahomes, very down season. We'll see what Saturday looks like in the cold weather for the playoff game. But Curry, kind of the same way. And it's just been a mixture of all these other guys and the up-and-comers and the squad in general. Like someone said here, Golden State is cooked. Our guy Tokyo, shout out to you, says Golden State is cooked without a trade. And it feels that way. Like, man, there's just been nothing positive going on for them. It's been a rotation of Draymond and Chris Paul and Klay Thompson and all the stuff that they got going on. And even Steven, same thing, right? It's just tough. So I don't know. I can't really do much here. I like the Vooch call. He still does pop. What do you think his ownership comes in at, Ham, tonight?
Sub 10%, probably even lower than that. I mean, would be my guess. What are we having for now? It's got to be sub 10, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, right now it's 10.2, so we'll see. I just wanted to ask because that's what I was looking at there earlier. Like, again, it depends on, you can't play them all, but like I was looking at him. I was looking at who we talked about earlier with going to Zubac. And then I liked, who's the other guy? Like there was somebody else there too. We talked about Houston, Sengun. He's at 8,400 as well. So who do you like between those two? I mean, this is $1,100 savings to drop down to Vooch. That's the difference.
I mean, out of those three, taking the price out, I like Sengun the best. I mean, he's just the focal point of that offense. On top of the fact that he doesn't have as many pieces. I mean, you said it. The Bulls have Kobe White, Zach LaVine, DeMar. I mean, you see them all listed right there. So, yeah, give me some Goon over those three, but without the price for sure.
Yeah, Caruso is cheap on this slate, 48. Man, I don't know. I don't think I can get there, though. Yeah, okay, we can leave this game alone. I just want to look at that. We'll see if anything else breaks as we get closer. 2 games left to go. We'll save the Portland side of the 62-point loss for the last game there, but we've got Orlando, Miami, and there was some news in this one. So break that down first for us, Ham, and then we'll go through it and as we always do.
Yeah, as far as the injuries go?
Yeah, just what we're waiting. Like, I think there was midday stuff, right, on this one?
Yeah, so Tyler Hero, midday downgrade. Jimmy Butler, who's been out, he is doubtful, I believe. Caleb Martin is also doubtful, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he's probable.
He's probable, so he is playing. Franz Wagner, who's been out, is out again tonight, and I think that's it. But please correct me if I'm wrong.
Wendell Carter Jr. Did we talk about him?
He's questionable as well. Yeah, he's been out, and it looks like he's set to miss another game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I think we'll see anyway, as of now. But yeah, talk to me about this one. Anybody here? Bam, more expensive than what we just talked about with Sengun. We got a couple other options here. I guess the other Triple J, if you want to call it that, you could go there. But who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, out of this game, I mean, Banchero has been absolutely dynamite without Franz. I mean, obviously, just usage gone way up. Is doing yeah, that's who it was. It was Lowry.
That's who it was. Yeah, I forgot. We talked pre-show about that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was Lowry. That's doubtful. Yeah, so Banchero, obviously my favorite Magic piece. I mean, 9,200. You're paying a price tag. I would take Banchero over Wemby myself. They both are power forward. I know Wemby's got some center eligibility as well. And then yeah, Triple J, Jaquez on the other side would be my favorite Heat player. I actually like him above Bam. I mean, we obviously have a very good projection on Bam. I don't think he gets there, almost 50 points. That's a lot. I'll take Triple J over him, Banchero, and then Richardson, Josh Richardson, good value in my opinion, 4,700. Should see some more run. Jay Rich gonna be chalk with the slate. I don't doubt that. 4,700. I think his projection will be a little bit higher than that, than the 25 that he's going to get, just based on. And that's if Lowry sits, by the way. If Lowry's in, which I don't think he will.
Lowry's doubtful, though, I think, right?
Yeah. I'm saying, but if he, for whatever reason, plays, I have less interest in Jay Rich. You're looking at Jovic right now.
Yeah, because it might, instead of Jay Rich, it might be Jovic. And you look at this guy, 30. This is the game 2 games ago. Last game was 33 minutes for 32. Like, is there any love for going down here, or what do you think? Because he also has power forward eligibility too.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, going back to your point about, who are you going to play at the power forward center? I mean, I think he's an option down there, with Sarge, he's 4,400. Don't mind him. Haywood Highsmith, he actually started last game, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder why we have such a low projection on him, because he started and played well a couple nights ago.
He basically did the same thing Jovic did the other night. Yeah, he got the same 32.75 versus 32.25. They both play. He played 35 minutes. Jovic played 32 minutes. Like, it's very, very similar numbers across the board the other night. You're right.
Yeah. So, I think, depending on who sits, who starts, different things like that is what it's going to come down to. To me, if Caleb Martin is in and starting, I don't mind him at 5,900. I think we got a low projection on him at 23. Triple J is my favorite. He, regardless of who's in, who's out, he's been starting in these situations. Yeah, so
that's why too. So
yeah, no, that's it. I think that's Boomer. But I like Triple J and Banchero from the Magic side.
Yeah, projections master in here helping us out as we go through, just to get some ideas on. But again, we'll get more updates and thoughts and wait and see what these lineups look like. That one is a later game, but it's only, again, this is the way the slate sets up today. It's just only within a half an hour, right? I think everything's within the half hour. So we're in good shape when it comes to that. Anything more you want to add on the Orlando side? Like, could you get like Goga or something like that if Wendell Carter's out? Where are you at here?
Yeah, I think it's Banchero or bust for me. Just so many different things run through Banchero. I've played Jalen Suggs a little bit this season, but he just hasn't been doing it recently. So I'm a little lower on Suggs and then maybe some others. But yeah, just Banchero on the Magic side. Just he's been carrying them, last 10 days, 2 weeks with Wagner being out. Yeah.
All right, we're cooking for time. So I want to ask this. I think Hebrew, hopefully he's still in the chat. Someone will know the rules. But if you remember last Friday, we talked about this. I got to remind and update the people. They want to know. So Ham tells us he's this three-point shooter master of the game. He can knock down trays from everywhere. He tells us this. He gets into these betting wars in our Discord with Title and with Hebrew and everybody in there. Now, somehow in the mix of it all, whether they're wagering $1,000 to $10,000 on this and we're going to record it live in Arizona and all this stuff, it flips to now Ham has to play Title one-on-one all of a sudden in a game with like these crazy, they said real ball rules. I don't know. I've heard of these before, but I don't get it exactly. But what are the rules, Ham? Do you remember?
Well, first off, there is no they said. It was Title said, and he gave me a laundry list of rules that I'm going to have to remember rules while I'm playing basketball. I just play ball, and I got all these rules I have to follow. I don't know exactly what they all are.
I think it's to help, again, I don't know. It's to help beat you, but we have to see how it shakes out. But you said you would get in the game on it, but what someone like Hebrew probably knows the rules. 3 dribble max. There you go. He's posting them in. 3 dribble max. He said king of the court, 3 dribble max. And there was something else to it anyway, but I told you probably should have just taken the straight up shooting contest. And even then you might be dust, but maybe you have a shot. But one-on-one,
Cheetah. I've seen Cheetah. I saw a video of Cheetah. I'm not a high riser like I used to be, and Cheetah's over there dunking the basketball.
Cheetah dunking.
He may have been cheating, and that might have been an 8-foot goal for all we know. But man, I don't have that hang time that Cheetah does. I'm more worried about Cheetah than I am Title.
Yeah. So I don't know what people think. I would, if I was you, I would have played the 3-point competition and just said, okay, let's each take 50 or 100 shots or whatever it looks like, and set the racks up. Go around and do it that way. This is what it turned into. 3 dribble max, make it, take it, check it up on misses, 21 winner, win by 2, 1s and 2s. So we'll see
gracious. That's
how it goes. But like, see, Ham didn't like that, but he accepted it. Ham's a true sportsman. He said, you know what? I'll play whatever rules you want, and I'm going to crush you. I don't know if that's going to be true. I'm betting on title, but maybe chat got love for Ham. I don't know.
Me against the world. I mean, Nades is all over. Won the max bet title. You're on title. Maybe I can get the hoopster or somebody else on my side.
Got to get odds probably at that point. I've seen title do more than most on one ankle. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. But either way, if I were you, I would have taken the 3-point contest. But team that could use some 3-pointers or anything, baskets, buckets in general, is this Portland team. Portland getting absolutely destroyed last night. Can't get any worse. Like I said, there's no way they could lose by 62 again. But Portland, Minnesota, it's, going to be, I don't know. Everyone's going to assume the blowout from last night. I will say that there's always an overreaction to it that you will see, but I don't know how you, what do you do to combat that in this situation? Do you do anything, or where are you at with this game? Because I think what's going to happen is it gets left alone, right, Ham? Like, people just say, all right, it's going to be a blowout, so I'm not going to play many guys from this spot. I don't really like guys from the other spot. Maybe these guys get limited up top. Like, what do you see happening with this game? I see like no ownership in this spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest piece of news is waiting on Gobert. I think he's questionable. I guess the silver lining was like, hey, those Blazers, I mean, they're in a back-to-back, but none of their studs played last night. They played half the game almost. We've played, I think it was even last Friday, Anthony Simons. We don't mind Anthony Simons, just the usage that he gets, the shots that he puts up, and I believe he was 7,200 last Friday. He's 7,500 now. But this Minnesota defense is, one of the best, if not the best, in the NBA. If Rudy Gobert sits, I love me some Naz Reid. We played Reid the other night. I guess that was Wednesday night when Reid he didn't start, but he came in and had a double-double. I don't even know, it was like 20 points, 12 rebounds, something crazy like that at 5,700. So if Gobert were to sit again, I'm all over some Reid. And then I would have a rule, maybe max 1 Trailblazer. I'm with you. I don't think they get beat as bad as they do. But they have pieces that can go off, those pieces being Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson. Actually, I think Kamara was even on the winner last night in the lotto at 40. I don't know what he was last night, but he's 4,500 tonight. On the other side, Karl Anthony Towns has been playing really well. It's just so tough with those Minnesota pieces, though, man. I just feel like the prices are high, and they're always around, 40, 50 points. Never anybody blowing up outside of Reid, at 5,700, only needs to get, 40. So give me some Reid if Gobert sits, and maybe some Simons on the other side.
Yeah, what did Kyle Anderson did something the other night, too. I thought he scored a bunch of points. Everyone was on him. 38.5 the other night. He had DraftKings points, but what about like Reith or something here? Because Ayton also, the chat brought up, and I remember this now too, is he got moved to doubtful, right? So you got him, and then I think we're waiting. Gobert is he?
I think he's questionable. I think Gobert's questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable as well.
Yeah, so no Reith for me. I just don't think I can do it. It would be Simons for me, and that's maybe Scoot Henderson kind of be the gist of it. Looks like Sharp is out tonight.
Yeah.
Shooting guard position. So, yeah, Simons or Scoot for me, and that's it. And then Reid on the other side, especially if Gobert sits.
Yeah, I don't think I like this game. I'm just looking at a couple other things, too. It's really hard to even make it work. Like someone said, never Eddie, our guy Eddie in there said never Minnesota. Don't disagree with that. I mean, it's really tough to get there at times. And then the other thing is the Portland side. So you said it max of 1, but at the same time, I don't even know what you would go to here. Like I don't like these prices. I don't like these spots. If it's like a Reith spot where you got Ayton's out and all that, but then I don't really like using up that center position when I already like four centers that I mentioned earlier. I don't love Scoot or Simons on this slate. Simons is 7,500. I like my guy Murray at 72, $300 less in the exact same position eligibility as well. He's also point guard, shooting guard. Gobert's out, so be it. But I mean, I guess Towns, Edwards, I don't know. But then what do they got to do, and how much do they play if it ends up being another blowout or something like that, they could just run away with it. So I'm not in love with this spot. There's not much that I would love in this one. I think like a recap of it though, if we go back, was like all the love was kind of right off the top of the slate, right? And then we're mixing pieces throughout. You had your Sarge piece, your Vooch piece, obviously Miami guys make some sense in there. If you like Wemby or Bane, those are in those other two games that we talked about. Zubac is in LA. Man, I don't really see much else there. Is anything you've got a sort of way to wrap it all up, or anything else you want to add to it?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, a majority of the quote unquote stacks, you don't necessarily have to have stacks in NBA, but you're going to stack, some of these first three games that you have highlighted there, and then pick up pieces throughout the game, throughout the other games, whether it's Wemby, Bane, Zubac, Vooch, Sarge, the Miami pieces. I think that's a good way of attacking the slate tonight. I haven't built any teams yet, but that seems to be a good approach.
Yeah, and one thing you can do too in the solver, like I always look at this stuff, just try to give an idea. And it's not for everybody. Some people are really well versed in this stuff and do it all the time. But if you had a spot like this, you can just turn everybody off and then say, like, I only want some Bane to creep into my lineup, maybe, and some Zubac, and then maybe some other stuff. And this is just the easiest level of this just to do it. But I'm saying you can just go in, turn everybody off. If I get some Wemby, so be it. You said you like Terry. You can go, if someone like Barlow, they could throw him in, that's fine. Turn that game off. Go to this one. Turn it all off. Vooch. Who else you mentioned? You mentioned Sarge, right? You said you like him?
Yeah.
I'm just using like a brief overview just to show people, but like you can go through here. You didn't really like anything else. I guess if you want a couple of these guys that you want to mix in, some people liked, others, and maybe they get mixed in. If you like them, you could go set up rules after that. And then let's just say we leave the last game turned off. Well, now you got a bunch of these dudes turned off. If you make your lineups like this, you're only going to be getting players from the first three games and the ones that you selected within the remaining. So it's just a way you can set it up where you can start to get an idea. And that's why I always tell people about these optimizers. Everyone thinks, I don't need this. I'm not building 100 lineups. I just do 3 max. Well, this is a good way to find out what your 3 max might look like. I just did all that. You can do it team by team if you got the time. But I'm saying if you didn't, that was the quickest way. Go down here, change it to 20 lineups, press optimize, and then start what I call virtual hand building. You're looking at them. You're going to type them in with your hands, like, because you're only doing 3 max on your phone, but you did it sort of virtually. And now you get some ideas of the teams that you see. And you think of, if I move this guy and that guy can do this, you start to find things that you like. You're still getting a really good projected team. You can see the ownership data. So if you want something that's a little bit lower owned overall or something like that, or you can see some of the ownerships throughout. So if you want a different product ownership that's lower, you can do that. And then you can find your teams that way without, thinking that an optimizer is just a 150 max tool. So just a note from me, anything you have to add on that, Ham, or anything else you want to add when it comes to using an optimizer in general?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, you kind of taught me that as well. I mean, I'll go through here and quote unquote hand build a team in the optimizer and kind of see where I'm at, what the projection is, what the ownership's going to be. And then, if I want to build 3 teams or whatever the case may be, do it that way.
Yeah. And then you can save your teams once you get one you like there. If they're down below, you can do that, but you could set them up and then you go look at them in my lineups. You can compare them against each other, but this is definitely a way to do it. And what it ends up happening is, because usually what you have is you've got 4 or 5 guys that you probably like, or a feeling or a setup or a mini game stack or something like that. You can also just lock that in. Like what was the one you loved earlier, Ham? There was one you were talking about, was like Trey. Who was it? Trey Young, and who else in that game?
In the first game?
Yeah, there was something you liked in that first game.
Miles Turner.
Yeah.
And Jalen Johnson. Yeah.
Right. So you can also do this, and you got everything on, but you can see around it. But if you like this, and then you say, okay, I also like my, you like your Sarge play. So you pop him in there, and then you want Vooch as well,
Yep.
right? You talked about him. So you turn that on. We still have 5.3K. You're down to 4.7. Instead of going through this and trying to find out and go, okay, well, I need a shooting guard now. Who's it going to be? What I would do is just take this and pop 20, click optimize, and let the optimizer do the work and find it that way. You know who the 5 guys you locked were. Now go find out what the rest of the optimizer tells you, instead of trying to do like, well, who do I like? Kind of like this guy. Okay. Oh, well, that's not, I can't afford him. Oh, I got to scroll down. Instead of doing all that, get what you like in there, press optimize. You'll get the 20 teams down below, and then you can start looking and comparing your options and also see how far you're actually going to stray from the most optimal, or highest projected, I should say, number from this combo of 5 people in a lineup. That's kind of how I use it. Look at it when I'm doing that as well. So just want to keep that in mind. If you guys aren't a member yet, you can go to SHIPITNation.com, use the promo code MAYO when you get the NBA projections. If you have an optimizer of your own and you click into it, we have it built in so you can just download the CSV, you can copy it over and paste it into yours. But if you want the solver, you just click get the solver, go here, make sure you're on our landing page with our logo. It tells you right here, the solver will come preloaded with the SHIPIT Nation player projections for all the sports that we cover. You can do single sport and just turn it to NBA monthly. It's $39.99 a month. The better value is just to go to all sports for 6 months and get it for $49.99. It covers everything. It will all pop in there for you. So you guys can check that out over on the site if you haven't already. Anything else for you? Any final thoughts, Ham, before we get out of here?
Yeah, nothing else new. It should be an exciting slate. Looking forward to it. Going to play on both sites tonight, so hopefully we see some SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. Hopefully our boy Nades continues his heater. He's been on absolute heater, so hopefully that continues along with the rest of us.
Hopefully he doesn't continue his heater because he wants to go up against you. So you don't want him to heat up against you. You want him to keep his DFS heater going, but hopefully it's in the hockey streets because that's he's been crushing in both sports, but definitely would say that you got a bet booked with him. You didn't even know. So yes. Thank you guys all for watching. We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, you can always hit me up on X at ToeTagginTambo. I can help you out where you're at. If you want to get over to SHIPIT Nation, use that promo code MAYO. It's going to get you 10% off anything there. You can also go over to Drafters if you want to check it out and get involved there for the NFL playoff best ball. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For my guy Ham and for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.